The night train to Blackwood Station arrived 10 minutes late under a sky bruised with rolling thunder. Rain lashed against the windows as Amelia Carter stared at her faint reflection in the glass. She had not returned to Blackwood Village in 15 years. The announcement crackled in a hollow British accent that sounded almost distorted. The train doors slid open with a metallic groan that echoed too loudly for an empty platform. Amelia stepped onto the platform and felt the cold bite of October air slice through her coat. The station lights flickered as though struggling to stay alive. A single CCTV camera rotated slowly toward her. For a moment, she felt as if someone else had stepped off the train behind her. When she turned, there was no one there. Blackwood Village was known for its ancient woodland and centuries-old folklore. The taxi she had booked never arrived. Her phone signal dropped to 1 bar and then vanished completely. She decided to walk the mile-long road to her late grandmother's cottage. The road was lined with skeletal oak trees twisting like arthritic fingers. A fox darted across her path and disappeared into the hedgerow. The wind carried a faint whisper that sounded almost like her name. She paused, convincing herself it was only the storm. In the distance, the old church bell rang once despite the late hour. Blackwood Church had been abandoned for years. Amelia quickened her pace as mud clung heavily to her boots. She noticed the street lamps along the road were unlit. The entire village seemed darker than memory allowed. When she finally reached the wrought iron gate of her grandmother's property, it creaked open by itself. She froze, heart hammering against her ribs. The cottage stood hunched beneath the looming shadow of Blackwood Forest. Its windows were black like empty eye sockets. A porch light flickered weakly, though no electricity should have been running. She stepped onto the porch, each footstep echoing unnaturally loud. The front door was slightly ajar. Amelia whispered hello into the darkness. The silence that answered felt heavy and aware. She pushed the door open wider and stepped inside. The scent of damp wood and something metallic filled her lungs. The hallway mirror reflected her pale face and something darker behind her. She spun around but found only shadows. The door slammed shut on its own. The sudden bang made her flinch violently. She tried the handle, but it refused to budge. Her breath fogged in the freezing interior air. The grandfather clock in the corner began ticking, though it had long been broken. Each tick sounded louder than the last. Amelia's childhood memories began resurfacing like unwanted ghosts. She remembered her grandmother warning her about the forest after sunset. "The woods listen," her grandmother used to say. Amelia shook her head to clear the memory. She switched on her torch. The beam cut through the darkness and revealed dust floating like ash. The furniture was covered in white sheets. One sheet shifted as if something beneath it had moved. Amelia forced herself forward. She pulled the sheet away to reveal only an old armchair. The relief was brief. A thud echoed upstairs. She looked toward the staircase with rising dread. The banister cast long, crooked shadows against the wall. Another thud followed, heavier this time. She called out again, her voice trembling. No answer came, but the ticking clock suddenly stopped. The silence became absolute. Against her better judgment, she climbed the stairs. Each step groaned beneath her weight. Halfway up, she felt a cold breath against the back of her neck. She whipped around but saw only darkness below. The upstairs corridor stretched longer than she remembered. The wallpaper peeled in long strips like shedding skin. A door at the far end creaked slowly open. Amelia's pulse pounded in her ears. The torchlight flickered violently. A faint humming drifted from the open room. The humming sounded like an old lullaby her grandmother used to sing. Amelia felt tears sting her eyes. She walked slowly toward the room, unable to resist the pull. The air grew colder with each step. Frost formed along the corridor walls. Her breath became visible in thick clouds. The humming grew louder and slightly distorted. She reached the doorway and hesitated. Inside, a rocking chair moved gently back and forth. No one sat in it. The window in the room was wide open despite the storm. Rain blew in sideways but made no sound as it hit the floor. On the dresser sat an old photograph of Amelia as a child. In the photo, a tall shadow stood behind her. She did not remember anyone else being there that day. The rocking chair suddenly stopped. The humming ceased abruptly. The door behind Amelia slammed shut. The torch went out completely. Darkness swallowed the room whole. Amelia's heartbeat thundered in her ears. A whisper brushed against her right ear clearly this time. It said, You shouldn't have come back. She staggered backward, colliding with the dresser. The photograph fell to the floor and the glass shattered. In the darkness, she sensed something towering in front of her. Two pale shapes formed slowly at eye level. They resembled hollow, glowing eyes. The temperature dropped to an unbearable chill, and then the eyes blinked. The glowing eyes hovered motionless in the suffocating dark. Amelia could hear something breathing, slow and deliberate. The sound did not match her own frantic gasps. A sharp pain shot through her head as fragmented memories resurfaced. She remembered standing in this very room as a child. She remembered speaking to someone no one else could see. The eyes drifted closer without moving any visible body. Amelia pressed herself against the wall. The temperature plummeted further, frosting the inside of the window. A crack splintered across the ceiling above her. The whisper returned, now layered with multiple voices. They murmured in tones that overlapped like a distorted choir. Amelia squeezed her eyes shut and covered her ears. The humming from before resumed, louder and warped. The rocking chair began slamming violently against the floorboards. She opened her eyes to find the glowing shapes inches from her face. They were not eyes but hollow sockets in a pale, elongated face. The face had no mouth yet emitted sound. Amelia screamed, but the sound seemed swallowed by the room. The figure lunged forward. Suddenly the bedroom door burst open on its own. A gust of freezing wind knocked Amelia to the floor. The torch flickered back to life in her trembling hand. The room appeared empty again. The rocking chair lay overturned. The window slammed shut violently. The photograph pieces on the floor had rearranged themselves. The shadow in the photo was now standing closer to her younger self. Amelia scrambled to her feet in terror. The corridor outside seemed darker than before. From downstairs, the grandfather clock began chiming 13 times. Each chime echoed unnaturally long. Amelia stepped into the corridor, heart racing. The peeling wallpaper now appeared wet, as if bleeding through. A handprint slowly pressed outward beneath the paper. She stumbled backward. The handprint dragged downward, as though something inside the walls was descending. The house groaned like a living organism. Floorboards creaked in rhythm with a slow heartbeat. Amelia realized the house was not abandoned. A child's laughter echoed from the staircase below. It was soft, innocent, and deeply unsettling. Amelia recognized the laugh instantly. It was her own from years ago. She forced herself to look over the banister. At the bottom of the stairs stood a small girl in a pale nightdress. The girl's hair hung limp and dripping wet. Her face remained hidden behind strands of black hair. "Why did you leave me here?" the child asked quietly. Amelia's legs nearly gave way beneath her. She whispered that she had never left anyone behind. The girl slowly tilted her head at an unnatural angle. The hallway lights flickered in rapid succession. Amelia descended the staircase one cautious step at a time. The child did not move. Halfway down, Amelia saw muddy footprints forming behind the girl. The footprints led toward the kitchen. The scent of damp earth filled the air. The child began walking slowly toward the kitchen doorway. Amelia followed, powerless to resist. The kitchen lights turned on by themselves. Water dripped steadily from the ceiling into the sink. The taps twisted open though no one touched them. The sink began filling with dark, murky water. The child stopped beside the cellar door. The cellar handle rattled violently. "You promised," the girl whispered again. Amelia shook her head in confusion. The cellar door creaked open inch by inch. A foul, rotting smell poured upward. The girl slowly turned around. Her face was pale and cracked like porcelain. Her eyes were entirely black. Water streamed endlessly from her sockets. Amelia staggered backward into the counter. The kitchen lights shattered overhead. Darkness swallowed everything except the open cellar. A faint glow emanated from below. The child stepped backward into the cellar without breaking eye contact. Her body sank into the darkness as though pulled. The cellar door slammed shut with thunderous force. Amelia collapsed to the floor, sobbing in confusion. The house fell silent once more. Then her phone suddenly buzzed in her pocket. She nearly screamed at the unexpected vibration. There was no signal, yet a voicemail notification appeared. The timestamp read 15 years ago. Her hands shook as she pressed play. Static filled her ears at first. Then a young voice whispered through the distortion. It was her own childhood voice begging for help. The message repeated a single phrase. "It's in the cellar." The line disconnected abruptly. Amelia stared at the cellar door in horror. The handle began turning slowly from the inside. Scratching noises echoed against the wood. The floorboards trembled violently. The whispering chorus returned, louder than ever. And something heavy started climbing the cellar stairs. The whispering chorus blended into a deafening roar. A long gray hand gripped the edge of the doorway. Its fingers were too thin and far too long. Mud and dark water dripped from its skin. Amelia's breath caught painfully in her throat. A second hand appeared beside the first. Then the creature pulled itself into view. Its body was twisted unnaturally, as though broken and reassembled. Its head tilted sharply to one side. Where a face should have been, there was only smooth pale flesh. The hollow eye sockets from upstairs now glowed faintly. It moved without bending its knees. Amelia dragged herself toward the hallway. The creature's footsteps left wet, black footprints behind. The kitchen walls began cracking violently. Framed photographs fell and shattered around her. The whispering shifted into a single clear voice. "You promised you would stay." Amelia shook her head frantically. Memories flooded back with brutal clarity. She remembered playing hide-and-seek in the cellar. She remembered locking the door as a joke. She remembered the screaming from inside. Tears streamed down her face. "I was only a child," she sobbed. Its glowing sockets brightened at her words. The house trembled as if reacting to her confession. Plaster rained down from the ceiling. The front door at the end of the hallway swung open violently. A powerful wind howled through the cottage. Amelia struggled to stand. The creature stretched one elongated arm toward her. Its fingers nearly brushed her shoulder. She ducked and ran for the open door. The grandfather clock shattered as she passed. The entire house groaned in fury. Amelia burst out into the storm-soaked night. Rain poured down in sheets. The forest beyond the cottage seemed to pulse with movement. She ran toward the wrought iron gate. Behind her, the creature emerged onto the porch. It moved faster now, gliding across the